Sorry.
No, it's all right. That's fine.
Brought to you by IWCRadio.com. It's the internet's most irreverent wrestling podcast. Now, please welcome Beans, Smoot, Chucks, and Will. This is the IWC.
Hello everyone and welcome to IWC Radio. This is episode 152 and we're coming to you live on youtube.com and iTunes. I'm your host Martin Nolan and I'm being joined by Smoot and Will. How's it going, guys?
I'm all right.
Good.
How are you?
I'm going well, thank you. Our technical new setup seems to be going quite well. I actually heard our intro.
Yeah.
Technology.
I know.
Right.
Yes, for people out there in listening land, obviously any feedback on how we sound would be much appreciated, as we're obviously testing this out and want to see how we're doing.
Indeed.
Certainly. Also, again, Chucks is not with us this week. However, he does have an excuse today, as today is his 30th birthday.
Yeah. Congrats to the big 3-0.
The big 3-0. And I believe he's gone celebrating his birthday. So we will let him off this week, because mind you, he did say that he'd be back around now. But then again, I'm not expecting him to make an appearance. But so yes, everyone at IWC Radio wishes Chucks the very best of happy birthday, and you're now in the 30 club.
Yeah.
Well, if he's not here next week, we are going to start calling him the Rock of IWC.
Oh dear.
Big league.
So yeah, we got a few things to be going through this week. We have, well, after last week's monumental WrestleMania review episode that went on nearly as long as WrestleMania, we are going to be talking more about the fallout from WrestleMania and also the Superstar shakeup that took place this week. What overall? How did we feel that the Superstar shakeup went, guys?
It was kind of boring. Overall, there's no fanfare. There's no pizzazz. It was just like, hey, here's this guy showing up. He's now a member of this roster.
Yeah, it was a bit strange.
Yeah.
I liked it, actually. I think it was different from the normal draft. I like how they did it, because we all know the draft stage anyway, so why hide the fact anymore?
True.
Yeah, I understand that. I think that the only thing that annoyed me slightly was just the lack of information to fans.
Yeah.
And it was just like the kind of thing of, people just kept coming out. So, I mean, even if they just kind of started it off by, like, I don't know, having Daniel Bryan and Kurt Angle kind of, like, sitting down and talking, and they're just saying, oh, they're working on who they're trading and things like that. And then you had people randomly coming out and them just going, oh, we've just found out that they've been, drafted to Raw or whatever. That would have been a bit more. But just the way they just randomly started coming out, it was kind of like...
And then bing, bang, boom. Clusterfuck.
Oh, we've been missing them sound bites.
I missed that, yeah.
Yeah, that so summed it up. Ed's joined us in the chat. Thank you for joining us, Ed. Can we just ask, are we coming through okay on the stream, seeing as we're now using alternate software that is no longer Skype, which also allows us to use the sound bites again, which is quite good. And he's also asking a question for the show, saying, has episode 151 of IWC Radio actually ended? Just about. But it only had a 5-minute intermission before this one started. Ed saying that the stream's coming through very good. That's awesome. Thank you.
Repeat
also,
that again. I didn't understand a word you said.
He's also asked, my problem with the Superstar shakeup is that it didn't really further along storylines for a pay-per-view that is 2 weeks away now. I can't speak. That is also true. It didn't set anything up for the pay-per-view, but it has kind of limited what could happen at the pay-per-view. Basically, we got scenarios like Bray Wyatt moving to Raw, where he's now facing Randy Orton at the pay-per-view for the title. And if Bray Wyatt was to win this match and reclaim the WWE Championship, he would then be on Raw, the same show as the Universal Champion. So
Who the fuck wrote this bullshit?
I'm gonna say this is all Smoot's gonna do all night now. I can we won't hear Smoot's voice for the next 45 minutes. It literally will be just Austin.
Bullshit. It's your life.
Ed's giving approval of the stream by using Mojo Rawley quotes, which is not good. And it also I've just realised that this gives an opportunity for Smoot to be using possible quotes of Mojo Rawley, which is scary.
They are the superstars that define TNA wrestling. For one night only, history goes out the window.
This is just going to be like IWC Radio, the greatest hits.
Hold on. Hold on.
Edge just put Smoot is replaced by a soundboard.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Steven's Battle Royal King. And you know what? It'll be live in London.
Yes.
Oh, I do apologise if I mishear Smoot at all, because I am aware that sometimes when I'm talking, it does cut out what's happening. So if you do say something and I miss it, do tell me off. Well, hopefully I'm not talking over you again and I mishear it again.
Yeah. No, not a problem.
Okay. So yes. We have. We'll just go through a few bits. Obviously, the main news from Raw and SmackDown on the shows directly after Mania was obviously the Superstar call-up. So on the Raw, we had Finn Balor return. We've had Emma come back. We've had Shinsuke Nakamura come on to SmackDown. We've got the Revival also come up for Raw. And who else came up for SmackDown?
The 2 SmackDown, sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure SmackDown got another one. They got Nakamura and they got someone else. I'm sure they did.
Oh, Dillinger.
Ty Dillinger. How could I forget? Yeah. So there's quite a few new people to the roster, and then obviously with the Superstar shakeup, this was something that meant was there any chance of people moving around in that aspect. So let's just have a quick look. So there was quite a few swaps between the shows on the shakeup, but let's have a quick look at Raw. So there were a few things. New Day took on the Revival, and just looking at the notes from when we was watching the show, Xavier Woods took the Shatter Machine from the top rope, which pretty much looked like it murdered him as he balanced on his head.
Yeah.
So that was quite.
It looked pretty. It looked pretty brutal on TV.
It did, and I think this summed up Raw, to be honest, because this was a show full of botches and real worrying situations at times.
Oh God, yeah.
So we had Xavier Woods, who nearly broke his neck on the Shatter Machine by deciding to roll over on his head, RVD style. We also had Nia Jax and Charlotte have a match where Nia Jax pretty much tried to kill Charlotte at one stage by doing a shoulder breaker that turned into "I'm going to drop your head on my knee and hope that you live."
Yeah.
And also we had Finn Balor and Jinder Mahal, where Jinder Mahal thought it'd be a good idea to knock the shit out of Finn Balor.
that
That was horrible.
that forearm, yeah.
So this was where he threw him to the ropes and he gave him a forearm, but he forearmed him on the back of his head. And he clean knocked Finn Balor out there. He was, well, I mean, if he wasn't totally knocked out, he definitely was not able to control his limbs as he decided to face plant the mat. And when he rose from the mat, he had marks on his cheeks, his nose, his forehead, from where he just literally his entire weight had just smacked into this mat. And it's turned out since that he may have a concussion from this.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's absolutely awful.
It's awful when you consider that Finn Balor's only just come back from injury, and then you get this as soon as he returns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, touch wood, this probably won't be as serious, but even so, didn't look good.
No, and then instantly Jinder Mahal moves to SmackDown the next night.
Yeah.
Um,
Ruining the potential reunion of the 3MB.
Well, some people say ruining, and I differ.
You can't say ruining by the sounds of it.
I know. I just realised I just said another word. Ruining. I'll add that to the list of words I can't say.
I thought Balor did well though, just to get up and carry on with the match. I mean,
yeah, it was kind of echoing the SummerSlam thing with the shoulder, weren't it? Because obviously SummerSlam he went through a 20-minute match with a dislocated shoulder that he decided to pop back in. And then on this one, you can clearly see that he was completely rocked by this forearm. And yeah, he carried on and he finished the match and he looked about as well as could be considering what had happened to him. So yeah, I don't know. I do worry. And I saw Lance Storm and Disco Inferno going at it on Twitter as well. I don't know if any of you saw this about the forearm.
Who?
Disco Inferno and Lance Storm was arguing on Twitter.
God, that's like I
don't know what that laugh signifies.
That's like a
sounds like Smooth ready to rant.
I know.
Lance Storm takes things I feel a little bit too seriously when it comes to wrestling.
I think
because he just wants to be serious for a minute.
Yeah, more than a minute. And Disco Inferno is just a putz.
Well, this might be the other way around then, because Disco Inferno was arguing that forearms should not be allowed in wrestling, and Lance Storm was saying there is nothing wrong with doing forearms if people do it properly, and I've never had a problem in my career.
Yeah, I would be on Lance Storm's side.
Yeah, so that's why I was a bit surprised with what you just said. Ed's just asked a few questions as well. He's put, is it weird that the Revival took out Kofi Kingston with a broken ankle, but New Day are now on SmackDown, so they won't get a chance for revenge? And this is the other thing. Anyone that lost on Raw was basically going to SmackDown.
Yeah.
So we had Charlotte lose to Nia Jax. We had New Day lose. We had Jinder Mahal lose, and we had Kevin Owens lose to Dean Ambrose in the main event. And then the following night, they all showed up on SmackDown. So basically, SmackDown is the show of losers. That was how it was presented by WWE. It was a bit strange.
You say that, I mean, I know you're only joking, but I think SmackDown's done the better out of the two.
Yeah. Like I say, it's only a joke, but I just thought it was rather strange to book it that way.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
It kind of preempted everything that was to happen, but I don't know. I know it's difficult to kind of mix it up a bit, but it just feels like they feel the constant need to tell you that Raw's better, but subconsciously say that. It's a bit, I don't know, it's a bit strange. And Edge just put, who did Sin Cara lose to end up on SmackDown, the catering table?
He lost the Andre the Giant Battle Royal Memorial.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so
I'm surprised they're not all on NXT because 32 people lost that match. And for some strange reason, we all lost because of the result. And I especially lost. Bloody Mojo. Also, Ed's just put, is anyone else getting ready to laugh their ass off when Roman Reigns comes back from a separated shoulder after his Raw attack 2 weeks when it took Balor 8 months? I think I was talking to Ed about this on Twitter, actually. It is, it was one of them where they've teased all these injuries that Roman could have sustained. And, if someone has a separated shoulder, then it's very easy for it to pop back out, and it isn't normally a big deal from people if they've had it numerous times where they just literally pop it back in quite grossly, but it happens. But the thing when Balor did it, he tore is it rotator cuff and things like that? I'm not too sure. But yeah, he did a lot of damage with that, so it was quite extensive. But yeah, I mean, in a world where you get, I mean, there's no way that Roman Reigns would be alive if he was thrown off that stage on that stretcher.
Oh god, that entire
never mind
bit.
coming back for a match in 2 weeks, but
That entire
yeah,
bit was incredible.
There we go.
That entire bit was amazing.
Sorry, Smoot, you were saying?
I said that entire bit was amazing.
Oh, sorry, it broke up a little bit on my end.
The whole...
It was...
Yeah.
I couldn't help but laugh as I was watching it, because I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
To the Dicko the Geordie who's joined us. He's put Booking 101 would have hopefully have Revival use that and brag that they came in and took out the New Day, what no one else on Raw could do. But knowing WWE, this will be forgotten. Which is probably true. So, well, I'm happy for Revival. They've had a good, strong start. Hopefully they'll carry on. And I don't think the New Day's got a bad home in SmackDown. I don't think Kofi Kingston's due to be out for too long either. I know he's had to have the surgery, but I don't think it's a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah, all he's having is ankle surgery, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's had some. Is it bone chips taken out?
Yeah.
Ankle cleaned up and stuff. So, I mean, obviously it's surgery and it's no light thing, but I don't think it's like he's going to be on the shelf for 6 months. So, I don't think it'll be too long before he returns.
Does Sean talk of them keeping New Day off TV completely until he's ready?
I don't think that'd be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Just to keep him a little bit fresh, because it has got a bit stale, and I think
Could do a bit of a rest, yeah.
I think it could work quite well.
And,
We'll have to see.
And the New Day formed on SmackDown itself, so I mean, it feels like a perfect fit.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
What else did we have? We had a promo from Seth Rollins on Raw where he was basically pandering to the crowd about staying on Raw and not going to SmackDown, and Samoa Joe ended up coming out. And did anyone notice that Kurt Angle got so very close to being physical in this altercation?
Yes. Yes.
Like, he was prepping himself like he was about to deliver an Angle slam to Samoa Joe, and it was just like, ooh!
He should have.
And he did nothing.
He
I
should
wonder
have.
what WWE would have done if he did that off his back. Like, did that completely with no, like, permission.
Vince would probably freak out or something.
I know, yeah. I do wonder whether he'd just, like, roll with it at that point, or whether we'd be seeing a message on, like, on WWE.com the following day saying, Kurt Angle has sustained an injury and will be missing from his Raw GM role for the upcoming 6 months.
God.
I don't know. But, yeah, it was a bit strange. And he just didn't look comfortable to be in a situation where he wasn't allowed to be physical.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I do think that they're eventually going to work in a match for Kurt. I don't see it being in the same context of Daniel Bryan. You know, I don't think he's going to be limited physically for all. I don't think they want to do it initially, but I do think eventually they'll get that far. Ed's just said that if Kurt was to get physical, Vince would have run out and blown both his quads again, which would have been hilarious. But also probably the most pain a person could suffer.
It's still the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It's so bizarre. How can you do that to both your legs?
On live TV as well.
I know. It's surreal. Like, you think of injuries that people sustain. It's bad to get it in your leg. You know, if that happens to you, that's a bad injury. But for it to have identical injuries on the same impact on both legs is insane.
If you ever watch that again, it's the look on Cena's face that makes it. Because when he's sat on the floor and Cena's looking at him going, what the hell are you doing?
He's probably going, oh, he's just being Vince McMahon. Oh, yeah. Classic moment. So then we had also on Raw, we had this instance of Neville backstage doing an interview with, well, it ended up being interrupted by TJ Perkins. And this whole long monologue came along from Neville saying that basically Austin Aries had taken TJ Perkins' spot and, you know, was playing the mind games with him basically. And long story short, this basically turned into a TJ Perkins heel turn at the end of his match with Aries. I think this was drastically needed for TJ.
Oh, yeah.
He's become a character that has just become very stale very quickly. I haven't seen the follow-up on 205 Live. I don't know if you guys have.
No, I don't watch 205 Live.
So I'm not quite sure what his follow-up was on I can't say it myself. 205 Live, because I've not seen it either. That's your fault, WWE. Too much TV. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But I was quite happy that TJ did the heel turn, and also just a small thing when he was stood outside the ring after he attacked Aries, and he just looked over his shoulder and like did a bit of a smug little nod as he walked off. And I thought, yeah, that's the TJ we need to see. Edge just said as well, why do I get the feeling TJ Perkins will use the dab more now just to troll and annoy fans? Well, if you watch CWC, TJ Perkins was a heel for most of that tournament because he came out, he was arrogant, he was cocky, and he kept putting people in submission moves and dabbing while they were in the move.
Okay.
It was only when they decided that Zack Sabre Jr. and Ibushi weren't staying that they obviously had to switch it round and make TJ win the tournament. So that was when they kind of went with the, he had a backstory, you know, his poor person's story of living on the streets kind of thing that they kind of threw in. And I mean, I don't know, I'd imagine it was genuine, but they decided to play the babyface role with him, which initially worked, but I think it quite quickly fell by the wayside. So Ed's also put, apparently TJ Perkins and Jack Gallagher was a really good match on 205 Live, so might be worth checking that one out, actually. One other point just on this as well is that I thought Neville on commentary was fantastic. I don't know if you heard it all the way through in this match, but
Yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah.
Yeah, for his character, yes.
Sorry, Smooth.
For his character, yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, he stayed in character. He was very clear, articulate, menacing sounding. Played off Corey Graves really well. It was, yeah, I was really happy with it. Also, Dicko in the chat has just said he needs a Shibata headbutt to get that bastardizing dab out of his system. Okay. So then we got to Charlotte and Nia Jax And this basically was, like we were saying before, it was Charlotte going out, making Nia look strong for a follow-up on Raw for Nia. But this was just rough to watch. There was the shoulder breaker, which, like say, it caught Charlotte's head, and weight just fell awkwardly. It looked dangerous. And then we had the moonsault from Charlotte to the outside, where she basically just landed with her feet on top of Nia, which looked quite brutal. But also, if you watch the way Charlotte lands, she lands face first on the floor.
Yeah.
It was just very, very rough. And I feel a bit sorry for Nia because she's obviously booked in the she's like the Braun Strowman character of the female division, and I just think that she'd have been better if she was starting at this moment in time from next week. I'd be doing the thing that you did with Braun, where it'd be looking at bringing in the jobbers. She needs 3 to 4 months of destroying jobbers. She just needs to build confidence and get more comfortable on the mic and in the ring, I think. But yeah, I was just a bit worried with this match. It didn't bode well for me. This one was followed up by Finn Balor and Jinder, which we know how it turned out. And then I've got to give the quote of the night to Corey Graves on Raw when when Sami Zayn came out for the match on Raw. He described Sami Zayn as a dirt devil. And he said he's never seen anyone suck up so much.
Yeah.
Because of his conversation with Kurt Angle. Which, I don't know, this killed me. I thought this was fantastic.
I missed that, but yeah, that's good though.
He just timed it perfectly because he said he's like a dirt devil, and it was like he almost gave that pause for everyone to go, "You what, a dirt devil?" And then he followed it up, and it was like, "Oh, that is fantastic." So
He's not wrong.
Yeah. Ed's also put Nia already did the job of killing after the draft. Can you go back to the well on that? That's true. I wouldn't have gone as far as what they did with Nia that early. I think she could have carried on doing the job of stuff. But yeah, I would, because look at what they did with Strowman. Strowman was involved with the Wyatts, and he was involved in matches, and everyone's like, he's green, it looks a bit rough. And they drafted him to Raw, and then they just gave him a fresh start. So it makes you wonder whether Nia should have really gone to SmackDown and they've just gone with a fresh start for her, I think. I don't know. So I think they could do. And there's always ways around. You can always write, you can always change things and write a different scenario. That would, get it back on track for her. And then, obviously, the main bit of Raw was Strowman's attack on Roman Reigns, which, like we were talking before, I know it wasn't comical, but it was bloody funny. I don't know. I didn't want it to end. I wanted it to carry on.
Or
because
keep attacking them.
Yeah, because did we all right? And on Hart, when he finally got in that ambulance after he was tipped over in the first one, when it started driving off, did you not think something was going to happen to that ambulance?
No, because that was a real one. You could tell.
Honest to God, I started to think that we was going to get Hulk Hogan in a semi.
Jesus.
And then also, Michael Cole finished it up afterwards by saying, "We've sent a reporter to the hospital, and we will give you an update before the end of the night." And I thought, yes, Strowman's going to the hospital. They showed you the hospital. I thought the camera was going to pan to the side, and you would have heard Strowman going, "I'm not finished with you yet," and then starts running into the hospital.
It should have been him in like a reporter hat and like the glasses and like a microphone. Just like as soon as he got into the room, just be like, "Roman!"
Like when Austin attacked Vince in the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bedtime. But yeah, I did. I mean, this was. I've got to commend them because I think the way that they broke between the stretcher bits with the little like breakup on the camera. The first breakup was very believable because it was very quick. The second one was a bit more obvious.
Yeah.
But I think they could have done a slightly better job of positioning Roman on the floor on the outside to where the actual stretcher landed on the first bit. Because if you look at the difference in where he landed,
it was different. Yeah.
it was about 8 feet in difference, and he was facing the wrong way.
Yeah. When Braun was lifting the ambulance over, the back door was closed when it should have been open because he left it open before he started lifting it.
Yeah.
If you look very carefully as well, when he's just about to start lifting, you can see 2 feet.
Ha!
Yeah, you could. I saw a shadow or something on the left side of the screen. I thought, well, that's him out.
Yeah.
And also, did you notice the little stand for the front wheel?
Yeah.
It was there just for the to help in the process of moving this ambulance over so it tipped at the right angle. But you know, it was one of them where it was quite cool.
You've got to give them some credit for doing something a bit different, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah, because we watched it and you saw him push the case into his head, and you thought, fair beat down, you know, that's all right. And then it just kept going. You thought, this is quality. I want more. But yeah, the downside of it is he will be back after he should be dead.
Yeah.
And it's just put as a quotation in the chat as well. I'll take it from here, nurse. Braun! So yeah, I would have paid. I'd have paid like probably a 12-month upfront for the network just for that moment if they were going to do it.
I thought the crowd were good as well. Obviously, they were supposed to be booing.
Oh God!
But no, they were chatting. Thank you, Strowman.
Yeah, well, this is it. The whole process of this was to try and build sympathy for him after. Obviously, the crowd hating him.
When Roman slammed, or when Braun slammed the crate, the equipment crate, into Roman on the floor, like the crowd was chanting, "You deserved it."
Yeah, that's what I mean. It just went wrong completely. Like Vince is like, "Oh, we need to do something where we're going to build a bit of sympathy up for Roman because I think the crowd are starting to turn on him a little bit." And yeah, and then you did the first bit, and you thought, obviously people don't care. You do the second bit, you think they're really trying to make people feel sorry for him. I mean, the guy got flipped off a ramp strapped to a stretcher. The only person that would be able to offer him some sympathy on that is Rey Mysterio after he was baseball batted into a ring post by Big Show.
And he tumbled onto his head when he fell to the ground.
Oh, that was sickening.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
That with Rey Mysterio was so wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, the only saving grace on that was at least it was the mats on the outside.
Yes.
Yeah, it was frightening. But yeah, you technically killed your biggest superstar, and the crowd loved it. Now, if that had happened to Austin or Rock or Undertaker, the crowd would have been,
Yeah.
So I don't know what more they can do for Roman. I really do think that they're probably just going to do the Cena thing and just keep going with it, and they'll just keep going on about how the crowd at least is giving him a response, and they'll just play it like that. But I really do think that they should just work their way towards a heel turn. And he's got perfect thing for it. It's the same as we argue with Cena, but he's a human being and he's getting chants like that. It's just like the die Rocky die thing, I mean, that was what he used against the crowd when he turned heel. And he can do exactly the same with that. And look how far, I mean, all right, I know he's not The Rock, but look at how far The Rock went with that heel character before eventually he flipped back to babyface when people started liking him. Yeah. Because the thing is if Roman became heel and the crowd started liking him and he didn't get the bad reception, eventually they could do a slow burn to turning him back to a babyface, and the crowd might actually follow that. If it was done right, people would be happy with it.
Yeah.
It's just said in the chat, Braun could chuck Roman's house with him in it into the Pacific Ocean, and the crowd would still demand for more to be done to Roman.
He's not wrong.
He's not at this moment in time. He's not wrong.
Not wrong.
So yeah, that was pretty much the main bits from Raw. SmackDown. Sorry, I'm just read a comment there. I'll get to that one in a minute, Ed, because I've just seen that. So SmackDown, just as a bit of a summary. So we had Kevin Owens come out at the start, and Sami Zayn also came. We got New Day involved. We got Charlotte, who's come on to SmackDown. We'll talk about that one a little bit more in a minute. Rusev and Lana are now on SmackDown, but all seemingly in a separate capacity, as Lana's decided to do some strange
chair dancing.
Yeah.
Is Lana possibly now Emelina?
Oh, good point.
Possibly.
Yeah, very much so. And she could pull that off better than Emma could.
Oh god, yeah.
No offense to Emma, because obviously she isn't comfortable with that character.
No.
We also got
sorry,
Jinder
just to
Mahal.
go back to last week. Just very quickly, Emma is much better as Emma.
Yeah, Emma is definitely much better as Emma. The only downside is the Emma this week also didn't seem to be very good at Emma.
Well,
that sounds a bit harsh. No, but it was just that they had that backstage segment where she approached Dana Brooke, where Dana Brooke was reading a book on how to be your own protege. Like, really?
Yeah.
Oh. But she had this segment where she was just cocky, saying like, "Well, come on then, like I'm back now, so you might as well just be like back with me," kind of thing. And I know obviously Dana Brooke stood up for herself, and it, that was that really. But Emma just didn't look comfortable in this segment. I don't know. She didn't seem to stand out as much as Dana Brooke, as in just projecting a voice, and I think it may be just more a confidence issue because of things that have happened. I don't know. So I hope it works for Emma, because she deserves it, and she was doing very well under the NXT as she just came up to Raw with this gimmick, and now she's back on it. Hopefully it'll work out in the end. Ed's just asked, will Lana's gimmick lead to handsome dancing Rusev? This is possible and scary.
Yeah.
And then obviously we got Jinder Mahal, obviously on SmackDown, offering to hand out heavy forearms to anyone that gets in his way.
God.
And getting bigger thrown in his face by something.
Did you notice as well? Yeah, I mean, Rob Gronkowski showed Jinder how to throw a beer at someone, because when Jinder tried this at WrestleMania, God, did he suck.
But the cup landed back on like its bottom. Like, if you...
do you know what? I missed that. I heard that happened, but I missed it.
Yeah.
I do need to watch that back. But also, can I just point out that when Jinder threw the beer, it hit him in the shoulder, and the entire drink went over his shoulder into the 3 rows behind him.
Yeah.
So if I was behind Jinder, I wouldn't be too happy with that. Or if I was behind Rob Gronkowski, I'd be thinking, I'm just like, that was supposed to hit the guy that's being paid for this shit.
True.
Edge just said Gronk is that talented, Smoot.
At what? Being a meathead?
Oh, wow.
I mean, he kind of is.
No comments, but I'm not a fan.
So where's this going? Is he just going to keep going back, throw beer in his face every week, or?
That's a valid point, actually. Is Gronkowski just going to be in the audience for all the SmackDowns cheering on Mojo and helping him out with
the only thing that I can say on all this is that I know that Jinder's got one hell of a forearm, and he's got a rivalry with Mojo Rawley, so
that's
chances
true.
are good.
That's very true. Mojo.
Not that I wish Mojo to actually get injured, but
Mojo hasn't been able to defeat Jinder without Gronk's help, so I mean,
Oh.
I
Anyway.
mean, surely he's not going to have a match at any point.
Probably not.
I doubt they'd let him.
It was speculated. I believe someone wrote a report that that WWE at one point tried to recruit Gronkowski to the roster.
I think I read that somewhere once.
Yeah. So I mean, him having a match, later on down the road is probably not out of the question.
I can see him being more involved when he comes towards the end of his football career.
True. Yeah.
I was just about to ask you guys know what made. Did he still play?
Say that again.
Yeah, he's been injured this season though, hasn't he?
Mm. But he's still technically an active player, so
Yeah.
I doubt his insurance would cover him for wrestling, even if it is WWE.
But never say never. So the major talking points from SmackDown were AJ Styles is now the #1 contender for the US title after he won the main event. And also Shane McMahon came out to do a announcement of who is going to be on the female or SmackDown women's roster. And he went on this long list of accomplishments about father being a Hall of Famer and a second generation star, and then he just went Tamina.
Oh, a nice little swerve, actually. I like that.
And I get it being a swerve, but it also was just kind of like felt like it was throwing Tamina under the bus.
It kind of was, because then he upstaged her by saying, "Oh, you thought that was the big surprise?"
Yeah. Oh, it sounded like you were thinking that it was going to be someone else.
Yeah, what a dick move.
And it was just like, yeah, and then it's like the best acquisition ever, and Tamina's stood in the ring like as if to go, thanks.
Yeah.
And then Charlotte come out after a loss on Raw.
Yeah, and just I'm tired of Charlotte and Sasha, so at the very least, I'm glad this is, a step in the right direction away from that fucking rivalry. But at the same time, I wouldn't say it's the greatest acquisition in SmackDown live history or whatever. So.
Ed's just put as well, I'm shocked WWE went and lauded Jimmy Snuka so much after the circumstances around the last few months before his passing.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit weird, yeah.
Yeah, because it weren't until afterwards when I thought, oh, hang on a minute, yeah, they did talk about Hall of Famer and second generation, but obviously their excuse is probably that there was teasing more Ric Flair's stature kind of thing. I mean, yeah, it was only a small thing, but yeah, it was a bit close to the knuckle, I think that.
Excuse me.
Bless you. So I think they were the main bits. Was there anything else on SmackDown?
Nakamura and Ziggler.
Oh yeah. Oh, this was also a little bit awkward, I thought, because
I thought so too.
I think the language barrier played its part here, unfortunately for.
I think it was more of they just wanted to get Nakamura on TV and didn't really know what to do with him.
Yeah, I think it was just like Dolph was kind of saying that you need to tell him. I mean, I think if you could read his lips saying like, say your name, because he was like saying, "Who the hell do you think you are?" kind of thing. Like, and Nakamura just kept doing his like, obviously he's creepy looking and twitching and everything, and just kept staring at him. And he obviously seemed to think that Dolph had something else to say before he did his bit, and he weren't sure what he was doing, and they were talking to each other at the end, not on the microphone, just trying to sort out what they were going to do.
Call him the spot.
Yeah, it was a bit strange. Which, unfortunately, is going to be a challenge. But I don't know. Again, Nakamura, his strength isn't in his promo skills, even though I think that when he actually does talk...
He's got better.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely got better.
And I think even in NXT, I think, like, the way... It's all timing and everything. Because like when he was talking to Finn Balor in NXT, and he said that he had to face him, the way that he delivered the line and stuff, even though it's very broken English, it had impact. So,
Mhm.
you know, as long as he's very clear on what he needs to do and he clearly understands that, he'll do it. But obviously, it's the communication aspect of knowing when and what to say. And
Have you seen his goodbye at NXT?
I didn't see it actually. No, I believe he did a.
Yeah, he
Uh,
spoke. He spoke really well there actually as well. Yeah, it was quite nice. Where all the roster came out and give him a round of applause,
right. Oh, that's good.
and Finn Balor came out as well and sort of posed with him.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was nicely done.
Yeah, and again, you know, this could happen to anyone, I suppose. I mean, we're saying language barrier as well, because obviously we're thinking that might be the main culprit. But you know, I suppose if someone gets mixed up in the ring and thinks someone's going to say something that they don't, then the same scenario still takes place no matter what language you're talking. So
Mhm.
it might just have been a bit of a mix-up in the delivery of the promo, but there we go. A bit of a shame that Nakamura and Miz isn't now going to transpire, because I thought that was a really good kind of first rivalry
Yeah,
for
I thought that
Nakamura.
would have been good. Yeah, I just hope they actually put him into a program soon
Mm,
because
yeah,
it's well, okay. The first week you can let go, so it's going to be 2 weeks now where he's not actually done nothing yet really.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, maybe they're waiting until after the payback and sort of reset the whole thing then maybe. But
yeah, possibly. I'm going to say there's a lot of confusion about Payback just because of them having matches for both brands, and
yeah,
it is very kind of strange. Ed's also asked, how about the awkward reunion of JBL and Byron Saxton on Smack?
Yeah, and you know, with the whole controversy situation between JBL and Morrow, uh, very noticeable that JBL wasn't berating Byron around like he
yeah,
used to.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, but also in some ways a little bit disappointing that JBL was there.
oh yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I
I
just
don't think he's going anywhere to be honest.
no,
no, and
no,
he's not, and he's got a backing obviously of WWE on this, which it's awkward. I'd imagine everyone knows, but for those that don't know, Mauro Ranallo obviously hasn't been on SmackDown now for probably over a month. And he originally they stated that he got caught up in the weather and when there was the bad storms and he couldn't make it to the show. The following week they said that he wasn't feeling very well, and since that point he's not been mentioned again. It's since come to light that Morrow's struggling with depression, with bipolar disorder, and it's come to light that there's a bullying culture going on, which seems to have singled out JBL for the way that he's treated Morrow. Um, and it's just one of them stories that you're not surprised to hear it,
Hmm.
which is a shame in itself, really. And I know that there's an aspect of there's, you know, all the ribs backstage, people all having a bit of a laugh. I mean, for crying out, they do a show called Swerved, you know, there's all that kind of scenario and culture backstage. But if someone isn't comfortable with certain things and it still happens, that's a problem.
yeah,
And the fact that this is cost Morrow probably his career with WWE, because it doesn't look like he's going to be coming back from this.
no.
Hmm.
And
Rumors,
WWE has sided with JBL on this, obviously.
rumors say that they're trying to settle with Morrow so that he doesn't talk about this whole ordeal.
Yeah,
Which that in itself just kind of it's like an admission of guilt, really, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's just
Yeah. The fact that
Um,
somebody with
and
a JBL bullied me crowd sign got kicked out of the event at SmackDown. I mean,
wow.
yeah, it goes to show you whose side WWE is really on.
And I think this probably wouldn't be as big an issue if WWE hasn't got such a strict thing on anti-bullying.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, for
they're,
crying out
they're,
loud, how much stuff have they done about be a star?
they're absolute
Yeah.
hypocrites. Absolute hypocrites.
It does make them look really poor. And obviously we don't know the entire story of everything that's happening, but if it is that, then surely you'd be thinking that if this was any other, if you're thinking about scenarios that we might be in at work, if there was an issue like that, there would be no scenario under the world that would side with the bully.
right.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Things would be put in place to try and sort the issue out.
And,
And
and the thing, Justin Roberts' book kind of shined a light on this, saying that this type of thing's encouraged.
yeah, and
Backstage.
it's almost like the culture of the old days.
Yeah,
But the trouble is we're not in them times anymore.
right.
Like Vince went on Austin's podcast and was calling everyone millennials, saying that they all need scripts and things like that. And that's the way the world is now with people. And there's things you can and can't do, and that is something you can't do in this world now.
Hmm.
You could fob it off in the past by saying, "Oh, that's earning your stripes," and that's paving your way, paying your dues. That's the way it works in the industry. I mean, look at how JBL treated The Miz.
Yeah, prime example.
Yeah.
He came in, he wasn't part of the culture of wrestling, he was a reality star. Now, fair enough, now it's a different story, but because of how much Miz had to fight through it. But at the time, that's also a work environment that shouldn't have been like that for Miz.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I find it hard with WWE because you hear this family mentality all the time. And that isn't what a family does.
Yeah, just what you mentioned there, we're going back to the old days. I don't know if Shrew can put that quote up. I've just sent over. Jim Cornette
Let me see here.
made a comment on, I'm not sure someone's podcast it was during the week.
His own podcast, yeah.
Was it? Oh, sorry, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, it was, sorry, I'm just reading about now. And he basically agreed with what you just said there, Beans. It does sound like something from the old days.
Mm.
It's quite a long quote, so I'm not going to read it, but...
Right. We can put it up on the screen here, I feel. Yeah. From, what was this, Wrestling News Source? Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, we're not in those old days anymore. The days of the territories are gone, and we live in a different time, and it's not okay to fucking, just haze people unless, they are in on the joke.
That's it, and it's a thing, isn't it? Where we don't know the entire thing. Obviously, we still don't know the entire scenario. But if they all weren't aware that this was bothering Morrow, then that's slightly different to a degree. If they just thought that, if they just having a rib or whatever. But if he's turned around, or if it's obvious that it's caused this situation where he's not in work because of it, then you would, if it was you, if it were me that found out that I'd made someone like that who I know that is, suffers with mental health issues,
Yeah.
I'd be horrified. And I'd be trying to do everything that I can to, make it right, or, what I mean? And it just feels like it's all being swept under the carpet, and that just makes it sound even more fishy. And it's just, yeah, it bothers me. It does bother me. Ed's put in the chat, I think it's more of an issue because fans could relate better to Morrow because he was seen as a better commentator.
Yeah.
Was this a thing when JBL and Cole or Corey and Cole would now bury Saxton routinely? See, the only thing is I think, like when Corey's ragging on Saxton, you know that Corey's in character of the bad guy.
Yeah.
Which I think is a bit different because I just think that, I can imagine Saxton and Corey being quite good friends outside of the broadcast.
You could see that at the Hall of Fame, the red carpet thing. You could see that they were when he, he doesn't hate him.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a different thing that is just joking about.
I've got to admit though, when I watched that ride along with Saxton, with JBL and Cole, that I did wonder what the hell was reality in any of this, because Saxton was increasingly frustrating to watch. And it was just like, is he just carrying on this character, or is he really like this? And it's just like, but it almost like he plays like he's a bit dipsy and a bit, away with the fairies kind of. He just doesn't like the insults don't seem to phase him. If you know what I mean, he still acts a goofy self afterwards, and he's like, he doesn't get it. His character on TV is that he doesn't realize that everyone hates him. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. And then when you watch the ride along thing, and they were going on about leaving him and everything, and it was just like, is he really like this, or is this all just complete fabrication, like reality TV kind of thing? It just put Saxton feels like a mark who looked into a job. There is an element of it. It's just complete fandom.
Yeah.
And it's almost innocent, like a child kind of thing, which also does make it bad when you see people ragging on him kind of thing. But yeah, I do think it's a little bit different. And I think it was also as well because Morrow's mental health has been so well documented before. Because he's an advocate for mental health and to try and, bring awareness of bipolar disorder, and the fact that something has happened in this organization that has made him go down this road, that is bad. Under anyone's, but that shouldn't happen in any workplace, and I'm not saying that WWE is the entire cause of it, because we don't know details and nothing's confirmed, but it does look like that. So it's not a good scenario. Also as well, just bringing up Byron Saxton as well. Did anyone notice when they announced a New Day on SmackDown that Saxton got increasingly excited at the announce desk? And he decided to tell him he had his arm out and he started slapping it as if he was going to inject himself, and he was like, inject me with the power of positivity. And I just thought that is not really appropriate for some reason in my eyes.
Yeah.
It just came across a bit like, ooh, I'm not sure you should do that. Don't do it near Jinder. Don't do it near Jinder. No. And then also, finally, Ed's also asked, on a scale of 1 to Punjabi prison match, how ridiculous do you expect the stipulations of the House of Horrors match at Payback?
I don't even think WWE knows what that match is.
No.
Well,
like at all.
The issue with it is they actually sent an email out to people as a survey asking what people want to see in the House of Horrors match. Does that fill you with any confidence whatsoever?
No.
Oh, that is absolutely frightening.
Yeah.
So there's this scenario now that you feel that it's a foregone conclusion that Randy must win this match. So what does it matter?
Yeah.
Because that title needs to stay on SmackDown.
Kind of has to.
So he isn't going to win it. And the same thing's going to be... Oh, sorry, no, we had Dean Ambrose go on to Raw. And I'm sorry. I didn't mention Dean Ambrose on my notes from Raw because I don't care about Dean Ambrose. I know that sounds harsh and it isn't nice on the guy personally. It's not a reflection on him. But his character is terrible at the minute.
Yeah, it's a bit.
I know some people really like it, and it's a personal thing, but I just find it, the goofy side of it, I just find every one of his matches is the same. All I feel is that he punches people and does this really insane brawl thing where he never actually touches anyone, and it just looks pathetic. And then he does a diving elbow off the top rope when everyone's stood up and just lands on him. And if he's not doing that, he's doing that stupid clothesline where he has to swing off the ropes. And it's just like, oh, go away every time he does it. Do you know one of the biggest things I popped for at WrestleMania was Baron Corbin giving him a big boot when he was trying to do that swing off the rope.
Mm.
Just because I thought at last someone's done something that was natural. You know exactly what's coming, so you'd counter it. Kick him in the face. So, yeah, I just think something needs to happen with Dean. And hopefully a move to Raw will change things soon, because I just think something needs to happen different, because I'm really bored with the way the character is at the minute.
Do you not think it was a bit weird that they moved them to Raw the day, days after he got married? And they were both on the same show.
Yeah.
Do you think this is one of those WWE ribs culture thing?
Who's the
Let's screw with them.
Who's the creepy person that's like
try and split them up? It'll be hilarious.
Who's the creepy person
It just
looking
seemed really weird. They're both on the same show. They get married and then now they're not.
Who's the creepy person looking up people's like marriages and shit? Like, can we shine a spotlight on that? Like, come on.
It's probably Vince.
Yeah.
I got married. Oh my god. That's enough Vince impressions of me that are terrible. Ed's also put for the House of Horrors match. He says, "I want chickens, a swamp, and a corpse of Teddy Roosevelt in the House of Horrors." I just settle for, I don't know, a 5-minute match where I can go make a brew. It's definitely something that I'm not too interested in, which I'm sure is going to involve a lot of projectors.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, it'll be some sort of no DQ match with projectors.
Yeah. I can't remember. I did look at the survey and the list of things, and it was like, what do you want it to be like? And there were things like, do you want it to be scary? And I'm like, oh, God. Their version of scary is frightening in itself. It's just like, what does that actually mean? It's just said a projector on a pole match. So yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, obviously, we'll hopefully, from next week, we'll have a bit more understanding from Payback what's going to be happening, because we've got next week. Oh, we've got this week's show coming up, and then next week's show will be a prediction for Payback, won't it? Is it 2 weeks away?
I don't know. Is it that soon?
I think it is. I think it's only 2 weeks away. I think there's 2 more Raws and 2 more SmackDowns before it.
Let's see. Wikipedia says April 30th. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, so pay-per-views are coming around quick, and yeah, we've got strange matches, and ones that kind of suggest what the results are already going to be. So I don't know.
That's quite interesting for anyone in the UK. It's actually on a bank holiday weekend.
Is it?
It is. The Sunday, April 30th. The Monday's a bank holiday.
Do you know? I can't remember the last time that a pay-per-view fell on a bank holiday
I
weekend.
can't.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's possibly something to look forward to, but not if this card gets any worse. Ed's also asking a question, which I presume is a very serious question for Smoot, because he is the font of all knowledge on this.
Shoot, what's up?
He's asking, is Impact Wrestling still in business?
Well, that's let's find out. Yeah.
Oh, misses.
So recently, I don't know what's been going on Impact, but apparently they threw Josh out of the commentator booth.
What?
Yeah. Here.
Hang on a minute. How is this not like our headline news?
Here, well, there's some gifs. We'll throw it up on the stream here in just a sec.
Did you lose a fight to an owl?
No, there should have been an owl involvement. Yes. Here we have JB telling Josh off. Let that play for a bit, and I think there's like another one. Yeah. And you have this weird GIF next. So I think it'll play. Yeah, you have JB doing this weird ass dance to fucking get him out of here.
Okay.
And then Josh reluctantly wanting to go, and everybody just in his face over it. I'm guessing.
Why was he going?
I don't know. I think it was part of some sort of match stipulation that he lost, and it's like loser leaves the announcer's booth or something.
So Josh is. What the hell is that dance?
I don't know.
I mean, he like went Shane McMahon at the start of it, and then went with the referee getting rid of you at the end. So, is Josh actually a heel on TV now?
Yes. So let's
Wow.
let's so with that all said, let's figure out if TNA is still in business. I can find it here. I have to find the right sound.
Well, that means it might be different, Will.
Let's
Oh
see.
God!
Here we go.
Don't really hope so.
Yeah, it's still there. It's still
Fuck that owl.
Fuck that owl. Yes. Did you see?
Anyone knows if the owl appeared on SmackDown?
Yes. I was about to bring that up. Yes, the SmackDown.
I did notice as well. Yeah. I was wondering how long there's going to be some kind. It won't happen now because New Day are on SmackDown. But I did wonder whether the Hardys and New Day was going to have some kind of interaction with the owl on the tights at some point. So yeah.
There's too many owls in wrestling these days.
I know it's getting a bit out of hand, isn't it?
Seriously.
Like country file wrestling style. So Ed's just put, given the fact that TNA is Josh, the winner of the match since he's leaving the booth. Kind of. What the hell was that noise?
That was my chair. Sorry.
Shit! It sounded like a pneumatic drill. I'm just going to adjust my height. Wow. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers the main points. Is there anything else we want to talk about, guys?
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything. This new technological infrastructure that we set up is pretty handy dandy. We've had a couple of hiccups here and there, but nothing too bad.
Yeah, it seems to have gone quite well. I'm just looking at Smoot playing down the stream numerous images of the owl from SmackDown. It's a very sophisticated looking owl.
Yeah,
It is.
for especially for an allergy medication.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure on what the link is there, but no, fair enough.
So the question is, who'd win in a fight, the Anthem owl or the owl?
Oh, I'm going to say the Damien Sandow owl.
My God.
It looks far more sophisticated and intelligent than the TNA one.
Damien Sandow.
Yeah.
Oh God! What is wrong with me? Why did I not get that?
Yeah.
That is Damien Sandow. That is honestly. I think Chuck's in the middle of his cinema just started laughing out of nowhere. That is amazing. That is I can't tell you how much that is perfect. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. I don't think there's much else that I can pretty much say after that perfect analogy of you know. So next week obviously we'll be doing a prediction show for Payback then
For the new year of the prediction game, the pay-per-view prediction game.
Yes, it's the first one of the new prediction game. Yes, and apologies, I've just accidentally refreshed my page of the stream, and every comment from the chat has just decided to start coming in like someone's typing them rapidly. So I just see them bound. At first, I thought there's about 600 people just decided to start writing in our chat. But so yeah, we'll be back next week.
Ed's right, actually, yeah. Prediction game's going to be the week after.
Oh right, yeah. So yeah, we'll be going through it next week. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for listening. Hopefully everything's come through nice and clearly. Like I say, we've had a brand new setup this week. It seems to have gone quite well. We've got our glorious sound bites back, so that's all good. Hopefully we'll have Chuck's back next week as well, back away from his secondment known as his birthday. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. Give us a thumbs up, give us a review if you can and will. We're much appreciated. Don't forget to check out IWCradio.com for all the information and shows you can access there. Use the hashtag IWCRadio if you want to send us a question for the show. You can follow us online at the IWC Radio. Until next week, have a good time, and we shall see you then.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Hi.